And welcome to Hashem's podcast. It's the end of the week, so let's end this week with some fun. So tonight we're going to be speaking with Sherry Thorpe, who was born and raised in Texas, US of A, as an only child by her dad, a single father who shaped her independence early on. Her love for travel started young, spending summers flying to Florida, which opened her worldview beyond home in Texas. During the pandemic, 2020, she lived abroad for the first time, connecting with people from around the world in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Being of African descent, she wanted to try a country in Africa. So in 2025, she chose Hurghada, Egypt, for its safety, affordability, and the beautiful Red Sea, of course, and the beaches. She has been living here since March 2025, and it's been one of the most rewarding experiences of her life. She's also a world traveler, and we're so excited to have her on our end of week podcast. Good evening, Sherry, from Hurghada, Egypt.
Hello, hello.
Hi, how are you? So you have this amazing vlog happening on Instagram. Where in the world is Sherry? So you obviously have a lot of followers and a lot of people finding out what you're up to and why you're doing what you're doing. And it sounds like you're having a ball, a blast. So tell us all about. Let's begin. Or I like to begin from the beginning. So your life in Texas, and then the decision to leave
Sure.
USA.
I was raised by my dad. My mother just was unable to raise me, so my dad raised me alone in Texas. And with him raising me alone, I do have three sisters, and one is actually deceased now. Rest in peace, Priscilla. But I do have two other sisters that are still living in Dallas, Texas. But I was just raised as the only child with my dad. So it's just me and my dad in the household. And he actually was sending me off to South Florida every single summer. So my norm is to travel just because I was going to Florida every summer. So I wasn't someone that was just raised in my neighborhood or raised in my city or even raised in my state. Every summer I was spending 2.5 months in South Florida. And so that's like kind of where my love for like the beach came in because we didn't have a beach in Irving, Texas, where I grew up. And so I love the beach. I love that atmosphere of South Florida, that like Miami vibe, that beach vibe, the palm trees. I fell in love with that as a young child. And I knew when I got older, I needed to be living somewhere by the beach. I
Live
love
by the
Texas.
beach.
I really
Yeah.
do. I love it, but I love the beach life.
So what is Texas like? Like we hear a lot of things about, it's a country town, country music, all that stuff. So what's it actually like?
So Texas is very diverse depending on where you live.
Yep.
And talking about diverse when it comes to the city life, is diverse when it comes to the country life, is diverse to the people. As we know that the United States is basically a melting pot, but also within Texas, it's definitely a melting pot. And then on top of that, Irving, Texas, where I am from, it's very diverse. It's very multicultural. I went to school with anybody from white folks, African people, Black American people, Hispanic people from different Spanish and Spanish speaking countries because they let me know early on. Listen, I'm not Mexican, I'm not Puerto Rican, I'm not a Salvadorian. So I learned different cultures early on just by living in my city. So it's very diverse. So I grew up in the suburbs, which is next to Dallas, Texas, home of the Cowboys. Whoop, whoop. And so with that suburban type city life, it's much different than the country life. Like, so I didn't really grow up in the country, although we still have the country life in Texas. So I'm not like a country girl, I'm a suburban girl slash almost city life, but not really city life. The big city kind of like is not my vibe.
Yeah. So the suburban girl and that loves the beaches, and then she chose the best place in the world for beaches, Egypt. So we get a lot of Europeans, obviously from Germany, from England, Italy, Russia. They're the majority that come here. Spain also, even though Spain's got some nice beaches. They love to come and see the Red Sea. So you're in one of the best places on earth at the moment. You're in a place called Hurghada, which is about 6 hours away from where I am. I'm in Cairo. Cairo doesn't have a beach, by the way. Our closest beach is Ain Sukna, which is about an hour and a half. You are 6 hours away in one of the most amazing places on earth. I've been there a few times. So tell us about you landing in Egypt and what that felt like.
Yeah, so I actually want to just take it back just a moment. I have traveled to 14 countries solo, and some of those countries were added on with me coming to Europe for the first time last year to get to Egypt. So I
Okay.
took a journey to come to Egypt. Like I flew from Miami, Florida to Paris, France for 125, $127.50. And then I
Wow.
went to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam, I took a ferry to London, England, and then London, England, I took a flight to Morocco, and then Morocco. That was my first time landing in Africa in my entire life.
All right, hold on, hold on. I got an idea. Let's go back to Mexico then, because I've seen a lot of your stories and posts. You love Mexican food. You're always reminiscing about Mexico. So tell us about Mexico
So
first.
I grew up in Irving, Texas. Again, that was a multicultural city, but we had a large Hispanic community. So I grew up around a lot of Mexicans, first generation Mexicans, Mexican Americans. So I already loved the Hispanic culture, the Mexican culture. So when the pandemic happened, I had a roommate. This is my story's all over the place, but I was actually at this time living in South Florida. So when the pandemic happened, I was had a roommate and she had a whole family there, and I was like, if I get sick, like these people aren't gonna be able to take care of me, so I need to have my own place. But I couldn't afford my own place in Florida because I knew about the Airbnb situation. What I did was I rented. I went on Airbnb to see what rent would be off of Airbnb, and then I found something in Mexico. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stay here for a few months because I didn't know what the pandemic was. I didn't know what COVID was. I was like, this will be over in 3 months. So I rented a place on Airbnb, and I found this community because not only I wasn't the only person that had the mindset, let's hey, pick up my things, let's go to Mexico. It was a whole bunch of people from all around the world that was like, listen, we're going to Mexico. So we had this amazing Black community there, and then they had another multicultural community there. We were building like businesses, we were doing life together, we were playing like we had game nights after we worked because a lot of us had remote jobs because the jobs, if we could do our computer work online, a lot of our American jobs moved to just give us laptops, do your work online, and just they didn't care where we lived in a sense. So a lot of us moved to Mexico. So I was part of that community that was building that life in Playa del Carmen, which is about 35 minutes away from Tulum and about 20 minutes, 25 minutes away from Cancun. So we're right smack dab in the middle. So it was an amazing, beautiful life. My first experience living abroad. It was like spring break overtime.
All right, amazing. So let's move from that part of the world, Mexico and the US, obviously, and then your decision to connect with some of your African roots, I guess. You're in North Africa at the moment. Africa's quite huge, so it's only the iceberg of Africa. So the decision to come to Egypt and then obviously Hurghada, where you are on the Red Sea.
Yes. So, yeah, I just chose Egypt based off affordability. The same situation. I went to Airbnb. I literally filtered the entire continent of Africa, and I filtered my budget. My budget was $300 and less per month because I was quitting my job last minute. I was rebirthing my social media agency, so I just needed to make sure that I could afford this life. And Egypt and Morocco and Kenya popped up, but ultimately I ended up choosing Egypt. And how I chose Hurghada over Cairo, which I'm glad that I did, is because when I was looking through these places, I saw this like blue water in the background. Now, I was very quite ignorant to the whole Egypt situation in the first place. I only knew about Egypt from the Bible. And I saw this blue water in the background. I was like, ooh, that's where I want to go. So Cairo wasn't my pick just because it didn't really call out to me, but
Yeah.
Hurghada because of the blue water for sure. And then I found
Yeah.
out that the Red Sea.
And what about all the stereotypes, the things that you hear about, obviously, the Middle East? Even though Egypt is not really considered the Middle East, it sometimes is, but it's really North Africa, isn't it? So all the things like, is it safe? What's happening over there, the conflicts, blah, blah, blah. All that didn't affect your decision to come?
No, actually, because like I said, I was very ignorant to what was happening, because they do in the United States, even though some people here in Africa don't consider this the Middle East, or they know that this is Africa. In
Yeah.
the United States, this is the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? So
It's all
these people.
lumped into one thing, isn't it? Just everything's the Middle East.
Right. So they do consider these people in the Middle East. And so I was very ignorant to their comments. I was very ignorant to what they thought about the Egyptian people. All I knew was that I read the reviews on Airbnb, and those women said that it was safe. So that's the reason why I landed here. I was very ignorant to the people of Egypt, or the thought process that a lot of Americans have towards the Egyptian people. I didn't learn their thought process until I started posting more about living in Egypt. And
Yeah.
then I learned where people were saying, it's dangerous there. Why would you go there? Like, it's dangerous. And I'm like, well, I live here and it's not dangerous. So I don't know what you guys
Yeah.
are talking about.
What are you talking about? It's funny. We have a university. That's where I work, the American University in Cairo. It's been around since 1919. So America and Egypt, very, very strong allies, by the way. They have been for over 100 years, and it continues. It's one of the most friendliest countries in the region. It's the country that makes all the peace between all the neighbors. And it doesn't get to all that news doesn't get to the West, unfortunately. We're all lumped into one area. So it's great that you're here. So when you landed in Hurghada, what was it like? I've been there a few times. It's an amazing place.
Yeah, so I took a bus from Cairo to Hurghada, and so taking that bus, you get to see the whole scenery. And then when we actually got to the city of Hurghada, I was seeing this blue water, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what did I pick to move to? Like, what is this city?" And so when I got here, I was working on a project that kept me like in the house just a bit. And even the people that worked in my complex, they were getting concerned. They was like, there's so much to see. There's Elgona, there's Sheraton, there's Sherry. And I was like, yeah, but I need to finish this project. And so once I finished my project, I went out and I explored, and I was like, oh my gosh, I accidentally picked a paradise. Like, I just wanted affordability, and I saw the beach, and yeah, that was nice. But the fact that I accidentally stumbled up on a paradise, and I know that it's all over social media now, but I just really didn't do a lot of social media work, research before coming here. So I am very grateful that I stumbled up on Hurghada, because it is truly, like you said, it's a paradise. It has some of the most wonderful beaches in the world. And
Yeah.
as a beach girl, like, I'm telling you, like, I actually swam with the dolphins in the Red Sea. Like, that wasn't even on my bucket list. Like, it's making me create a whole new bucket list living here in Egypt.
Yeah, so I come from Australia. We have about 27,000 beaches in Australia, and any Australian that comes to Egypt and goes to Hurghada, they're like, this is the one. This is the fantastic water, the snorkeling, the diving, the marina area, the people. And then you have that little town right next to you. It's about, what, half an hour away, called El Gouna. Have you been there?
Yeah, so I'm closer to Laguna than I
Oh,
am to
you're 10 minutes.
Hurghada.
Oh, wow. So you're right in the middle.
So I
So
spent
what?
most of my time over there in Laguna.
What's that like? So that was built by the Sawiris brothers, and this was a project decided it was about 15 years ago to build a little, town away from every single thing, very different, very Western, very safe, obviously. But I think the whole of Egypt is safe. I mean,
Yeah.
I had Michelle Rounds on the other day. I'm not sure if you saw the podcast. Michelle's also from Australia and Fiji, and she's been here since 2009. She came for a concert. She's a singer, and she never went back. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and she
Yeah.
loves it here. And we were talking about the elder culture, how young people respect us here. It's a little bit different to the West, where teenagers, are not threatening as they are in the West. They sort of respect you when you get a little bit older. Older is in like just over 21, basically. They're old here, and they respect that. So have you felt the warmth of the Egyptian people and obviously the respect and all that sort of thing that happens? Do you like all that sort of stuff?
Absolutely. That was like my first experiences that I brag about, because people, like I said, where I'm from in the United States, they have this mindset towards these people that they consider to be Middle Eastern. And I'm just like, I'm telling you guys, these Egyptian people, they're very hospitable, they're very welcoming, they're very helping.
Yeah.
Um, I don't speak Arabic, but I take public transportation out here and I don't know what I'm doing. So sometimes I gotta ask a stranger. And that's when I know when you're in a vulnerable place and you're in a vulnerable situation and you ask any stranger, that's how I know how the people are. And
That's who
every
you know.
time that I've been lost on the bus, I will ask a stranger and they will literally walk me and direct me and even sometimes get on the bus with me to take me to the next place. Like that is some true hospitable, like hospitality in
Yeah.
Egypt.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. I went into an Uber about 2 weeks ago, and you know the Instapay, we pay via the phone, electronic
Yeah.
phone
Mhm.
service. We don't carry cash anymore. A lot of us here. So I hopped in the cab, the Uber, and I wanted to buy a packet of cigarettes and some chewing gum. And I went to the kiosk. I told the guy to stop me at the kiosk. So I got out and I told the guy, give me some cigarettes and some chewing gum. And he goes, oh, £100. So I pull out my phone. He goes, no, 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 no electronic. And I go, oh, damn, I don't have any cash. So I hop back in the Uber and the Uber driver felt me that I was getting a bit angry. He's like, what's wrong? I said, oh, I can't get my cigarettes and my chewing gum. And he's like, that's fine. He just jumped out of the car, left his keys in the car and went and got them for me. A
Yeah.
complete stranger. I don't know who he is. He never met me. I've only been in his cab for like a minute. No one does that. He left the keys in the car, went and got me. Obviously, I paid him, but he
Yeah.
went and did it on his own, and I've never seen anything like that. So yeah, and also I'm like the middleman between the West and this side of the world. I always try to tell the West what this place is like, and then I also tell people here what the West is like, and they sort of don't believe me. But music, so I know Egyptians love Western music. They love country music. It's everywhere in the hotels, it's in the bars, it's everywhere in the malls. And sometimes I say, hey, you listen to this Western music, and these guys don't actually, some of them don't like you or they think you're bad. And they're like, really? It's like that is, they don't know one another. And this is our job, our ambassador job to always, um, make that bridge between the two cultures, and that's why I was glad to have you on. So let's talk about some more experiences of your time. How many friends have you made?
Ooh, friends is a lot. So I'm a community builder wherever I am. And again, my first initial experience in my thought process is to come here to work on a project and to go back home. I was supposed to leave in October. Clearly, it's February. I'm still here. So I met a woman that lives here permanently, and she was like, I want to, build this community. I want to have these people. I want to meet. I was like, I can do this for you. I'll do it for you, and I'll leave. I can do that in my sleep. So I get in, making the WhatsApp group and I'm making sure that I'm intentional to meet the women. And so right now we have a girls group where in our WhatsApp chat, we have about 20 women. I just made the Facebook group last around Valentine's Day. So we have about 10 people in our Facebook group just from her Gada women. And most of these women live here. I think we have 3 or 4 that actually live in Europe and they come here every 3 to 4 weeks actually. So yeah, so
Wow,
we have a big group. We just had
big
our
group.
Valentine's Day meet up and it was 20 of us. And I'm talking about we were all from over the world. We were from Germany, we were from France, we were from Romania, we were from Nigeria, we were from Thailand. We're from so many different places and we have some Americans in there. And it was just a beautiful experience for us to get together.
That's amazing. Have you been to Dahab on the other side? So that's next to Sinai. You need to go there also. A place
I,
called Dahab.
I have not.
Yeah, you got to go see that. Okay, so tell us about your routine. What's your day like when you get up in the morning in
So my
Hurghada?
day like is quite lazy in the beginning because I'm sitting in bed. Well, not kind of lazy, semi-lazy. I'm sitting in the bed and I'm scrolling as a social media manager. Hence the reason why I need to make sure that I know what the trends are going on. I'm posting on my platforms, and then I'm also getting ready to post on my clients' platforms because even though I'm waking up pretty early here, so I have a little bit 4 to 5 hours before I have to post on their platform. So I get ready for that, and then I get ready for the day. Before I moved to my new apartment that I'm in now, my other apartment was quite small, so I was out of it a lot, and that meant I was only paying $100 for rent. So that meant a lot
Wow.
for the beach clubs. So
Oh
I
yeah.
the beach clubs a lot. I'm a beach club person. Like I like the beach. So since I was saving so much money on rent, my rent was only $100. I was going to the beach clubs and spending about $20 to $25, eating food there, drinking the fresh juice there, and enjoying the work. And also, since it was El Guna has free Wi-Fi for the entire city.
Yeah.
So I actually work from the beach while I'm in El Guna. So that was my routine, probably like 2 to 3 times a week. And then I would go get some fresh juice at our cute little juice spot here that also had Wi-Fi, which is Papa Juice. So majority of the day I'm working on my social media work, and then at night I'm just basically watching TV and then planning events for our next meetup. We have a meetup every 2 weeks with the girls.
That sounds amazing. So you've mentioned fresh juice. Egypt's known for its fresh juice. When I first got here, I was like getting it every day, mango and kiwi and avocado and yogurt and all these different things. What about the food? I've seen you like all the different variety of Egyptian food, and they also have good Mexican food up there, don't they?
Yes. So I am quite thankful that the Egyptian people flavor their food because I probably wouldn't last if the food wasn't flavorful. So they definitely know how to cook. They definitely know how to season their food. So that is very good for me because I can eat their food anytime, any day. We actually have a restaurant in our complex. In my last apartment that I was in, we had a restaurant there, and her name was Shima, and her food was fantastic. I was just messaging her today to see if she can cook me a pigeon because I've never had pigeon, but I've heard that they cook really good pigeon here, so I'm gonna try it. So
They cook,
no, they cook very very good food here.
no, they cook pigeon and quail also. So people like Bill Maher, I don't know if you watch the Bill Maher show and stuff. He's always going on about you can't do anything in the Middle East, women can't drive in the Middle East, blah 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 blah. When I get people visiting me, they're like, "Why are people lying about the Middle East?" It annoys me because I know the two cultures really well. So how do you respond to stuff like that? Like you can't wear what you want in the Middle East or in Egypt, or you can't. Women don't drive and women are oppressed. I don't see any of that. I think women here are so strong. You've obviously seen that, yeah, and they sort of control the men, in my opinion. Yeah, and just these stereotypes that we need to keep fighting.
Yeah.
Is that part of your work?
I think it's just like what you're doing. I'm addressing the stereotypes one by one as they come, because
Yeah.
like I said before I got here, I didn't know what the Egyptian people were like. I didn't have a mindset of what a lot of people in the United States have this mindset towards Egyptian people or the Middle Eastern people. So I'm learning as I'm going. And like you said, like the women are very strong minded. The women
Oh
are
yeah.
very independent. The women
Do they
are very
drive? Do they
focused.
drive?
Yeah, and they drive. Like I had my first Uber driver that was a woman. I was like, oh, I finally got a woman. And it's not that I didn't see women driving. That was just my first woman driver. I see the women doing the same things that men are doing. They're
Yeah.
going to work. They're working in regular places that I see the men working. I am seeing them at the juice spots, at the coffee spots, hanging out with their friends. I'm seeing them with their children. I am not seeing an oppressed women nowhere, and especially the dressing. Now, I do want to share this experience because I did not know about the Muslim faith, but this is one mindset that I had towards the Muslim faith. I thought that the women that cover their faces, I thought that that was forced. I thought that they didn't have a choice.
No,
And
most of it's
I
them.
remember,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember one time I went to the beach club in Elgona and I saw these group of Egyptian women.
Yeah.
But it was a very diverse group of Egyptian women. One girl had the thong bathing suit on, and then the other girl had the burkini on, top covered from head to toe. And then another girl was partially with the burkini, and then another girl wore a regular bathing suit. I had to go talk to them because I was a bit confused because mind you, I had the mindset that this is forced. So when I see those women, I was like, okay, they have to wear that because part of their religion is forced. And so when I went to go talk to them and I introduced myself, and they live in Cairo, and one of the sisters was like, "Oh yeah, this is my sister." So that was the sister that was telling me that was my sister. She was in the thong bathing suit, and the other sister was in the burkini. And so I was like, they get to choose. She didn't even have to tell me. At that moment, I knew because how are you sisters? And you're night and day when it comes to how you're dressed. And
Yeah.
I was like, ah, and then later on, the more that I made my Egyptian friends, they let me know, like, no, this is a choice. We make this choice. The men don't make
Exactly.
the
So
choice for
a lot
us.
of men don't even like it. A lot of men say take it off. Don't even wear the hijab or the full one. Most of the men here we don't even like it. Also, something very important. Egypt has more than 20% Christian population also. So when you come to Cairo, there's churches also where you are, but if you come here, there's so many churches and they're side by side with the mosques. So it's just, I always take a lot of pictures of the churches and the mosques together. And there are synagogues too. There are synagogues in downtown. There are synagogues in Alexandria. It's just amazing. I mean, you need to come and see it. All the people that hate without seeing. I just don't understand that. How
Yeah.
can you hate something you don't understand or hate a film before seeing it? Don't judge the book by its cover, definitely. Um, so there's a guy called Quinn Flynn. You should look him up. He's on Instagram. He's an American also. He's been here for a few years. He lives in Dahab. Look him up, Quinn, QY. I always watch his videos. They're hilarious. And he lives in that place in Sinai. He's also doing what you're doing. He's an older American guy, really interesting. And I just love seeing these videos, and I love talking to people like yourself.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll
thank you.
definitely check him out for sure.
Yeah, look him up. Thank you so much for your time. So, are you going to stay longer, or are you going to move on?
So I am going to travel a bit more. I've done Luxor, Abydos, Gina. I've traveled in that area and saw some, some of the temples. And so now I want to go back up north and just travel a bit. I'm not going to stay like I'm staying in Hurghada, but I am going to travel for about a month and go through Alexandria, go to Siwa, and then go back down south because I haven't done Aswan. I want to
Yeah,
knock a lot of these big places that are well known
yeah.
before I actually leave Egypt. So the goal is to leave Egypt in June this year.
Okay. And you've also got to know about the things that happened to Egypt. So we had a monarchy in the before the 50s, and then it turned into some sort of socialist capitalist, and it turned into sorry, socialist communist, and then it turned into capitalist. There's all these things that happened, and and some of the things that are not that good here, you need to know why they're not good. You can't just blame it on the people or blame it on the two religions or whatever. That's what most people do. So it's always good to look at history.
Mhm.
So yeah, definitely great to talk to you. It's been an absolute pleasure, Sherry. Thanks for coming on our show and a great way to end the week.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah, and I'll speak to you soon. So if you need advice in Cairo, we're here. I've also got contacts in other places in Africa like Tanzania, Nigeria, and definitely South Africa. We have a lot of nice people there. So thank you so much for being on our show. You've been listening to Hashem's podcast on this Friday evening in Egypt. It's only early morning in Australia, so our audience is not hasn't come online yet. But our audience are everywhere: Australia, Europe, Middle East, Dubai, Cairo, and parts of Africa. We've had Sherry Thorpe from Texas, who just loves Egypt on our show. Good evening, everyone. Goodbye, Sherry. Bye.
Hi.